This is the brand new Prestige F4.3 and it has the unenviable task of replacing the very popular 420. Now it may share a lower deck arrangement and hull with that boat, but there's lots that's new as well. It has fresh styling, a totally reworked main deck, even new engines, and to a typical UK spec, it's going to cost around £740,000 excluding VAT. Should we see what it's like on board? I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. Let's start right at the back, shall we, where we find a hydraulic bathing platform. Now this is hull number 2, and I suspect there are a few refinements here and there they plan to make, one of which I would imagine is some vents in here, because at the moment it's going to face quite a lot of resistance as it goes down into the water, and this is also where you carry, launch and recover your tender. Under here there's a boot style storage void. It's quite deep, it's really handy to have that here down at the transom, and then above that you've got this wet bar with a grill and a sink, so you can cook out here. Obviously it's not gobbling up space in the cockpit, which is really useful. It also means your cooking smells are all clearing away from the boat, and having the sink down here means you can keep it clean quite easily as well. Now this L-shaped arrangement means you've got access up the port side into the cockpit, and this is a really nice sociable area. They've extended this seat here so you can sit on this pod. Obviously the table opens out to move into a dining formation. This is more to the coffee table. It does go up and down as well, and you can create a sun pad if you drop this table right down. It's nice that when it's closed, you've got something to hold on to, and these built-in cup holders. And we have this big window, this OceanView Galley. We're going to go into that as we go inside. I think for now we should stay on deck and head up to the foredeck. These styling plates on both sides mimic the larger F-line products. I think they look really good. They certainly add something quite striking on the outside. They also offer, as they connect up to this overhang, a bit of protection as you walk up this side deck. Now to get the volume on the lower deck, they have got to set these decks quite high, so there's a couple of relatively steep steps onto the side deck, but you know, they're wide enough, and really nice high tow rails as well. So with that and the railing, you feel good and protected as you move forward. Now, this isn't an enormous boat, and there's only so much you can do with this area. On the bigger boats over there, you've got a little bit more in terms of living space. This is really quite a simple sunbathing space. However, you have at least got these pop-up backrests, which is a nice simple arrangement. They can pop up like that, and you can be a bit more comfortable when you're sunbathing. There is the option to have teak. Now, this should be pretty hard wearing, should stay nice and cool, but it does look quite sort of bland up here. There's lots of white plastic on show, so I think a bit of teak would liven it up nicely. And in fact, they've got a teak deck on the Flybridge, so let's head up there. Now this is quite steep to make sure it doesn't gobble up too much space here. However, there are handrails that come very easily to hand, and you've got nice grippy teak treads. And then once you're on the Flybridge, it's a pretty simple arrangement, but it's effective. So crucially, you've got a really nice sweep of seating, space for plenty of people to sit around this area, and a big table as well. So if you want to dine up here, you've plenty of room to do that. There is no wet bar, but they've integrated quite a good sized fridge underneath this table, which I think is a rather neat solution. Now, of course, you're quite exposed up here, but there's the option to have a bimini, which will collapse and pop up and down manually, or you've got a hardtop, a fixed hardtop option, which is nice to see on a boat of this size. Right forward, again, we have these pop-outs that we have downstairs, always nice to see. Now, this is your sunbathing space, and this is quite clever. This isn't tied down in any way. It's just weighted, so you can move it into whatever position you want. So it just adds a little bit of flexibility to this area. And then we have the helm station. It's a clean, simple dash, single helm seat, but because you can slide that back, people can sit next to you and face forward when the boat's moving along. I've got everything I need here, and it's all within pretty easy reach. This chair slides, there's an adjustable wheel. I've got my twin throttles. It's a shaft drive boat, but you now of course have the option to have a joystick with that. You've got the bow thruster too, so slow speed control should be pretty good. And it's designed to run at around 22, 23 knots, top out around 30. That's going to be its comfortable performance window. But yeah, I like this space. I've got a really good view forward. I can see the bow clearly. If I stand up, I can look back and I can see right down to the end of the bathing platform. You can probably see I've got a really good clear camera here, so I imagine you're going to be doing a lot of your mooring from up here. So you've got the joystick, I can spot the back of the boat, I can easily glance forward, and I've got my cameras. So it should make manoeuvring, berthing, whichever way, side to or stern to, hopefully pretty simple. Right, let's head inside. And now we arrive at one of the key configuration changes over the boat that this replaces, this OceanView Galley. It's the same on the bigger F-line boats. The difference here is they don't have the width to put a door here at the back, so instead you've got doors on both sides, which I think works really well. It's nice to have access both sides anyway, and it's not like you feel enclosed because you've got this huge manual window that pops up, clips to the ceiling, and like the other F-line boats, you have, well, the ocean view. If you're cooking, if you're using the galley, you're not looking into the boat, you're not even looking out the side window, you're looking out the back, over the water, and crucially, you can really easily interact with guests. They've got this fixed bar on the outside so you can line up your drinks, and then the other benefit is how much width this galley has. So decent bit of counter. This isn't stone, but it feels like stone, feels really nice, high quality. Induction cooking with an oven underneath, but most importantly, domestic size fridge just here. So cooling space is pretty good inside, and you've got an array of storage both underneath here, an ice maker as well, and then they've worked in some storage down on this side. So aside from the arrangement, I think there are also packaging benefits to having the galley the way it is. That means amidships, you have your living area. Obviously this raises up a bit to give you clearance in the cabin that's below me, and like outside, they've extended the seating round quite a nice way. So again, maybe not sit so many people inside as you can outside, but for 4 people, if you have to dine inside, this would be pretty comfortable. This chair is on an adjustable leg. You can have this as another double berth if you want to be able to sleep 6 on board, but even having the adjustment is quite useful. And behind me is where the TV is. No electric motors go wrong with that. Simple gas rams, and it's not tiny. Often they really have to cram the TV in, so that's a reasonable size, and then it just pops away when you're not using it. Now obviously the side doors are aft, so you haven't got them forward, but you have got ventilation on both sides, and at the helm this has a double function, because not only does it mean you can get some fresh air, but you can at least talk to your crew. Okay, you can't get out very easily, but communication is pretty good. We have a single chair here at the lower helm, and there are a couple of things that I just immediately think that they could tweak to make this better. It's pretty good. Ergonomics are generally not too bad, but this footrest is a bit high for me. At my height, I'd have one on this unit down here so I can drop my legs a little bit lower and my knees aren't right up almost around my chin. And I'd also want to angle these screens a little bit more towards me. They're fine, but they're just tilted a bit too far away. And because they are a bit of a stretch, why not have a Garmin control down here, as well as the joystick and the throttles, so I can sit back here, flick between my screens. I don't have to constantly be sort of leaning forward to interact with them. That said, it's nice to have 2 FDs, and you've got the Volvo one too, so you've always got your engine controls on display, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, it's not a bad position. You can't really stand here and drive. It's very much a seated position, but hey, that's why we've got a Flybridge. Okay, let's head downstairs. Down here, there's a 2-cabin, 2-bathroom arrangement. On the starboard side is the day head, and this is also the bathroom that the VIP forward will use. As you can see, headroom is pretty good in here. You actually drop down into the shower tray. So with this separate shower cubicle, it's pretty comfortable to have a shower, and you're not going to soak this area when you're doing so. And there is a door through to the VIP, so it has got ensuite access. And then over the passageway, we come to the owner's cabin. See, this runs amidships on the way in. This is their bathroom. That's a nice size. I can't help but thinking maybe a pocket door would be better here, because you see you've got 2 doors very close to each other, and they take up quite a lot of room, and this door slid in there, it would use the space a bit better. But no complaints about the size of the bathroom. And then dropping down into the cabin itself, obviously there is headroom restrictions over, but they have shot the ceiling up at least on this side, so a taller person can use this side and, you know, stand up relatively comfortably. And then obviously when you're in bed, the headroom isn't too much of an issue, and crucially you can sit up in bed comfortably and read without bonking your head on the ceiling here. Storage is pretty good. You've got a hanging locker right forward in front of the bed. There's also space for a TV up there, and there's storage dotted on both sides. I like this use of faux marble too, just brightens this area up a little bit. And talking of brightness, this is where we have some nice hull window too, so natural light is good, and the views out when you're lying in bed, you wake up in the morning in nice anchorage, should be pretty good as well. Right, let's head forward and have a look at that VIP. Right, the VIP, or maybe the master. You tell me, if this was your boat, which cabin would you sleep in? Because this has got a lot going for it. They've got a good door solution here at least, splitting it Means that it doesn't eat up loads of space when it's open, and there's still room to pass the end of the bed. Storage is good in here as well. You've got this shelving over on this side, but on that side there's a really good hanging locker, and you've got more storage dotted around to a knee level as well. The bed is a good size, not as big as in there, but set slightly higher and still very comfortable to move into. And you can see I can stand up really comfortably, certainly at this end of the cabin. Natural light maybe not quite as good because you've got a much slimmer portion of hull window, but you've got your skylight in here, so natural ventilation is good, and you get some light coming in through that when the cushions are off, of course. And as I mentioned, this has got ensuite access. Sure, it's the dayhead as well, but in the night you can get in there pretty easily. Right then, before we wrap up, let's stick our head in the engine room. So a nice big hatch here, a couple of catches, up she comes, and then we've got ladder access down into the void itself. There's no two ways about it. It's pretty tight down here, but not any more so than you'd expect on a boat of this size. The engine's on V-drive, so they're set a bit further back. That's what's giving you that accommodation space in there. The pair of Volvo Penta D6 440s, you know, coming down, standing in the middle is pretty comfortable, and thankfully most of the day-to-day stuff is very close to me here. Oil dipsticks, raw water strainers, and I can inspect by eye and make sure everything is as it should be. The generator is tucked right forward down there. If you have that as an option, there is no stabilizer option on this boat. There just isn't the space to get something like a Seakeeper inside. So look, day-to-day checks are fine, but any major work could be a little bit uncomfortable. And Prestige delivered around 250 of the previous model, so they were never going to want to compromise what was clearly a very good formula. What they've done with this is bring it bang into line with the rest of the range. These adjustments definitely move the game on, and it's really important that they're focusing on this market. There are so few new 40-foot flybridges actually being built, so good on them for sticking with it. We're going to sea trial it later in the year as well, so make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss that. Let me know what you think about this boat in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching that tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a like if you did, and if you'd like to watch my sea trial of the next boat up in the range, which is the F4.9, I'll put that for you up here. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do that by clicking there. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.